Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head across to Finland for the first time in quite a wee while actually, and it's just notoriously difficult to get a hold of Finnish beer, but we did get a hold of this one through Systembolaget from the 1st of November here in Sweden, so really looking forward to this one. This brewery has quite a good reputation. So for this one we are going to go to Malmgårdin Panimo and we're having a taste of their Imperial Winter Warmer. This is my very first encounter with this brewery, but I have heard very good things about their barley wine and about their IPA as well, so hopefully I can review those for you sometime in the near future, and hopefully Finnish beer starts to get out a bit. From what I understand, the rules in Finland are even more strict than they are in Sweden, and that's why you don't get so many exports of Finnish beer, but the ones I have had from Finland before have been really good, so hopefully things are starting to change and more Finnish beer will appear outside of Finland, so we can keep our fingers crossed. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Malmgårdin Panimo. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review, especially if you're watching in Finland. Always great to hear from you guys, and your support is hugely appreciated. Make sure you check out my whiskey and sake reviews as well. But anyway, to tell you a little bit about Malmgårdin Panimo. So this brewery, from what I understand, is part of the Kreutz family estate, and the estate is about 23 kilometres to the northwest of Loviisa town, which has a population of around 12,000 people, 43% of whom apparently are Swedish speakers. Apparently this is quite common in Finland, and it goes back to the days of when Finland was part of the Swedish Empire, although of course they were part of Russia after that, and now they are their own independent country. But it's quite common around the coastal area to find Swedish speakers in Finland apparently. Actually, one of my classmates who gave me their Finnish beers before is a Swedish speaker from Finland. But Loviisa is also a municipality, and it's about halfway between Helsinki and the Russian border on the south coast of Finland. But the Kreutz family have owned this estate since 1614, and the current owner, Johan Kreutz, is the 12th generation of his family to be in charge of it. So the Malmgård brewery was actually established in 2009, and it's located inside a converted farmhouse next to the estate. Now, their brew kit was originally used for brewing British ales, and they have a capacity of about 500,000 litres of beer per year, which makes them one of the biggest independent brewers in Finland. And apparently they like to brew beer with spelt and emmer wheat varieties, some of which they produce themselves and the rest of which is actually brought in locally. So their current brewmaster is Tuomas Markkula, who apparently also works as a brewing teacher in Finland, and his brew team consists of Lasse Letonen, Janne Patturi and Veikko Ojanen. And they work on things like process management, blending, tasting, quality control, and all of this sort of thing. And they're joined in the brewery by Marko Piliainen, who manages the distribution and sales, and also Stefan Neumann, who manages the retail and restaurant chains, in fact. And in addition to the beers and ciders, the estate produces flour, bread, jam, vinegars, and honey, all of which are actually organic products. So they really focus on organic things, and apparently they have their own kind of water-powered brewery. They're a very sort of green estate and green brewery, of course, as well, which really is quite cool. It's always cool to see this industry being kind of so concerned with the environment and things like that. And they also have a bar on site that you can go and visit. From what I saw, it's open every day of the week except Monday, but it's only open something like 10 till 6 or 10 till 4, so you need to go there during the day. But as I say, it's a brewery that has quite a reputation for itself. I've got a list of the other beers that they do here. So in their regular range, they've got the Dinkel, the Blonde Ale, the Belge, the Emmer IPA, the Emmer Triple, the Columbus Pale Ale, the Barley Wine and Imperial IPA, and also the Yolo Ulut base. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but that's their Christmas beer. They also produce an apple cider as well, and they have their limited edition Proto Series beers. From what I saw, they're working on the 12th one just now, I think. And Tuomas and Marko also used to brew in their own restaurant called Huvila, which was in Savonlinna, and they apparently still brew these beers under that Huvila name. So they have a brown ale, a pale ale, an ESB, an Arctic Circle ale, and also the Exporter as well. So they've got two different ranges of beers, these Malmgård ones and also the Huvila ones as well. So really quite prolific brewery, and from what I hear, their things are really quite good. So it's a brewery that if you go to Finland, I think you do need to check out. But anyway, that's enough about the brewery just now. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. As you can see, it's quite nicely presented. It's got a nice kind of snowflake and things on it because It's the Christmas beer, of course, but there you can see there's the house on the estate there from the Malmgård estate. So this one, as I say, 10.2% winter warmer. It says on the side here, it says a dark brown unfiltered ale, which gives you has a warm malty feel to it. It's got some nice fruity character, and it's designed for the winter season. It's meant for a kind of it's got a nice aftertaste with some earthy hops, and it's a winter warmer for the Christmas season. And I'm not sure exactly what the last bit is, but it's meant to, I think it says it's from old times, or to be enjoyed next to the fire, I think is what it's saying on this one. My Swedish still needs a bit of improvement, but it's quite cool to see it in Swedish actually, and I guess it's maybe a Malmgård. By the name and things, I would guess that the family who own that estate probably are Swedish, just with that kind of language. It's not a very kind of Finnish name, that one, but as you can see, there is the Malmgård bottle cap on this one, and looks very nice, very nicely presented beer. And as I said, it's always cool to try things from Finland because you don't come across them very often. So let's get this beer out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Really looking forward to trying this one. So, as you can see, a nice smoky opening on this one, and we'll get it out and into the glass. I tell you something, you can smell some of the nice red fruity characters and a bit of chocolate off this one, just as you're pouring it out. But let's get it out and into the glass then. So that looks really nice. As you can see, this beer has poured a really kind of dark mahogany colour actually. If I hold it up to the light, maybe you can see that, but it's a really nice dark mahogany sort of rosewoody colour. There's a half finger of a frothy sort of beigey tan head on this one. It looks really nice. It's just kind of fading away to be a very thin foamy layer. If I hold my fingers behind it, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but there is a degree of transparency to it. But it is actually quite dark, and I think it's fair to say it's a very kind of ruby-ish dark mahogany colour, this one. Some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. Really, really nice looking beer this. So let's have a closer look at the aroma then. That's really interesting. There's a nice kind of bready underpinning to this one. You can really get a bit of the sort of almost spicy malt base in this beer. It smells really nice. So there's definitely a sort of roasted caramel element in there. These kind of toasted brown sugars are really coming out. A bit of bready character, like I say, some spiciness that could almost make it just a little bit cakey actually. Maybe a little bit of chocolate or something too. There's definitely earthy hops in there. Yeah, when you sugar it up you start to get more of the kind of earthiness out of it. It does have a kind of distinct kind of English ale aroma to it, this beer actually. Yeah, you can really smell that in it. Maybe there's some of these kind of English hops like Goldings or something in here. You can really smell that in this one. Yeah, it doesn't actually say on the bottle what hops are in it, but definitely I think there's some English hops in here. It smells as if there's maybe been an English yeast used in this beer as well. But yeah, a big kind of bready character just underpinning it. You can pick up the sort of grainy, cereally characters like I was saying. Some toasted brown sugars. Not quite a chocolatey thing, but there's a bit of a darker element to it as well. You can smell some of the earthy hop. Maybe there's a little bit of grassiness to it as well. And I think there's a bit of a red fruity ester, you know, a sort of almost candied fruit kind of thing. As I always say, it reminds me of the kind of red heart sweets that you get in Haribo's, in the Haribo Star Mix. It does have a little bit of that kind of thing going on with it, but it's got an interesting aroma and it smells like a kind of distinctly English beer, this one. It doesn't smell too boozy right enough. So just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this before you get stuck in. Some interesting things going on in there, but it really does smell like one of these kind of English beers, so have a look at that before you get stuck in. But we'll try this guy now. So this is the Imperial Winter Warmer from Malmgårdin Panimo over in Loviisa in Finland. Keep this. Well, that really comes off very differently than in the flavour than what you would expect from the aroma. There's a whole host of things going on in the flavour. The aroma kind of, it really is quite mild in comparison to what the flavour is. This one really kind of hits you. If you're just smelling it, you're like, oh, it's going to be alright, but then the flavour comes in and it just really attacks the tongue, so you get a big hit from this beer as soon as you drink it. It's really quite nice actually. And as I can see what they were I think I get what they were trying to say on the label. This one really, you can really get the aftertaste on this one. yeah, it does taste like these kind of old English ales. It actually reminds me a little bit of the I think it was the Old Stock ale that I had from North Coast Brewery in California. I remember reviewing that, and this one does have a bit of a similar feel to it. So with this beer, you've got a kind of bready blanket that goes right across the middle of your palate. You can really pick that up. There is a good bit of spiciness to this beer as well. You can really pick that up. A lot of cereally kind of grainy character coming out of this one. And in the middle of your palate, there's a good bit of a toasted brown sugar there, but it's actually quite dark. It's the spiciness in this one isn't really coming across as cakey. I was thinking the bread might be a little bit sweeter, and then that spiciness comes across as cakey, but really the spiciness is a kind of separate element on its own. But yeah, it's a really interesting beer that you can really pick up the booze in it. I can see what they mean when they're saying it's one that should be drunk by the fireside. It really does have a big boozy character to it, this one. But it's nice, I'll tell you that. It's a flavour, I think, this one's a little bit darker and more roasted than the other ones. The other variants I've come across in this style. I've only tried one or two different beers in this style, and they've both definitely been quite interesting. This one to me comes across as a little bit darker. In the aftertaste, it starts to taste as if you've got a little bit of a kind of black malt thing going on in this one. And that's the spicy character. The spicy character comes in and then starts to push its way out across the palate. Like I said, you've got that kind of bready base to it. The spice really dominates the middle of the palate, and then starts to give you this impression of a sort of almost roasted black malt character. You've got some caramel in the middle of the tongue there too, but it's quite a dark, really quite toasted caramel you're getting from this one. Maybe even going into the kind of realms of treacle or something like that. Or molasses, as they would say in America, actually. You can really get that in this one. But it's really interesting. The hoppy side of the beer, in the back corners of the palate, you've got a really big earthiness to this one. It's quite dry actually. As you come further forward, it does start to smooth out a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit of grassiness around the front curve of the tongue, but really the hoppy side of things is dominated by that kind of earthy flavour. And it's really interesting. Like I say, there's a big bit of boozy warmth from this one, and that's probably what's given the beer this kind of darker feel that it has as well. But it works really well. I do like this beer, but I would say for drinkers who are more into like Imperial stouts and you know, IPAs, you're into this more American style beer, this one I would say is distinctly more English, but it's got a big kind of boozy kick to it. This beer, in terms of its flavour, really fits more into the kind of English style category. The American beers and the American variants of this kind of old English ale, they're always a bit more leaning towards the caramel. Americans have got quite sweet palates generally, whereas the English ones really are more kind of bready and spicy, I would say, and this one really fits into the more English style of this old English ale, if that makes sense. But it is nice. I certainly would drink this beer again. And I can see if this is the kind of feel that all their beers have, like it's a very big flavour that comes out of this beer. If this is the sort of kind of feel that all of the Malmgård beers have, I can really see from this one why they do have quite a big reputation for themselves. So in terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, I would say it's probably mid-bodied. It's quite interesting because it's a lot lighter bodied than I would normally expect from an English ale, and that could just be the Finnish water that's in this one. They do use a very local water source, and the water kind of does taste quite minerally. I notice these things in beer, having tried Icelandic beers and beers from the north of Sweden, and Scottish beer of course as well. This one definitely has that kind of minerally characteristic in the water, so it makes it feel a little bit lighter and more drinkable, but you do get a big boozy hit from this one. This one's got a lot of alcohol warmth to it. The malt base on this has a bit of sweetness, but really, like I said, it leans more towards the spicy side of things, and the hoppy side of the beer is actually quite dry as well. You get a lot of that dryness from the earthiness. It does smooth out as you come further forward, and there's some other things in there too, but there's a little bit of a kind of red fruity ester coming out of this beer as well, so you've got a wee bit of juiciness there, and you can hear the ambulance going past the house outside as well, but there's a nice little bit of that fruity juiciness there. But overall, the flavour in this beer is very big, and it's really quite well balanced. If you're expecting a kind of more American style English old ale, then this one, it really, as I say, it leans more towards the English version, the original English version of the style, than the kind of sweeter American version. But overall, it's a very, very good beer, and on the basis of this one, it really does make me want to try some of the other Malmgårdin Panimo beers. Really would be quite a nice one to have a go at. It's the double IPA, as I say, I've heard is very good, and the barley wine is supposed to be very good. And this one, if you get the chance to try it, I really would recommend. Like they were saying, this one is a dessert beer, and it's probably one that you want to enjoy by the fireside, but a very, very good beer, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. So yeah, give it a try if you come across it. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Make sure you check out my social media, and to those of you watching in Finland, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other Finnish beers and breweries that I should have a look at. Hopefully I can review some more beer from your country very soon, because Finland is a country that I've not reviewed too many things from, but I really would love to. So until the next time, Slàinte just now, and I will catch you very soon. Make sure you go and check out Malmgårdin Panimo from Loviisa in Finland. Slàinte just now, and I'll catch you very soon. Cheers.